what's happening this week in Conservative Canada. Jamaican vacation Justin Trudeau's Wealthy Trudeau Foundation supporters gave him an $80,000 holiday at a luxury resort. Pierre Poilievre paid for his own Sunwing travel package. He tackled Trudeau in question period.
This Prime Minister wants us to believe that these Trudeau Foundation donors offered him a $9,000 a night vacation for nothing. We know nothing is free, Mr. Speaker. This is about influence and power for the super rich. So why won't he answer?
No questions for Rachel Notley. Alberta's NDP leader won't take tough questions from the media. Notley only wants to talk to NDP-friendly media like the CBC. And an iconic Alberta voice slams Rachel Notley's job-killing tax-hiking anti-energy policies. Ontario's Minister of Education makes bold moves to get better results for students in critical skills like reading, writing, and math. Premier Doug Ford unveils an exciting plan for Ontario Place in Toronto's waterfront district and a new home for the Ontario Science Centre.
It will attract between 4 to 6 million people. The minister's telling me 6, I believe it. Hopefully it'll even be more each and every year. Create approximately 5,000 jobs and be an economic driver for local hotels and restaurants and entertainment venues for decades to come.
Pensioners in company pension plans will no longer go to the back of the line when corporations go bankrupt, thanks to Conservative MP Marilyn Gladue. Jamaican vacation Justin Trudeau's Wealthy Trudeau Foundation supporters gave him an $80,000 holiday at a luxury resort. Pierre Poilievre paid for his own Sunwing travel package. He tackled Trudeau in question period. Justin Trudeau's pricey vacation in Jamaica cost taxpayers at least $162,000, but wealthy donors to the Trudeau Foundation also let the Prime Minister stay in a luxurious seaside villa for free, where regular guests would pay $80,000. Pierre Poilievre asked the Prime Minister to explain the big gift from his Trudeau Foundation friends.
Because of the galloping inflation this Prime Minister has caused, 2/3 of Canadians say they are cutting back on summer vacations, and 1/4 say they've canceled their vacations altogether, but they'll still have to pay for someone else's vacation. $160,000 of taxpayer expenses for the Prime Minister to go down to the private villa, luxurious villa, of a super rich Trudeau Foundation donor, for which the nightly cost is as much as $9,000. How much did the Prime Minister pay for his accommodations at this luxurious villa?
Prime Minister. Mr. Speaker, our family have been good friends with this family for about 50 years, and as always, we work with the Ethics Commissioner to make sure that all rules are followed. But if Mr. Speaker, the Leader of the Opposition, was truly concerned about affordability for Canadians, he would be voting to support our budget that puts forward concrete measures to help Canadians from coast to coast to coast. He'd be fast-tracking the grocery rebate through this House to make sure that we can deliver as quickly as possible help to 11 million Canadians, and he wouldn't have stood to vote against the dental care supports that already help about 250,000 young people right across this country.
Honourable Leader of the Opposition.
This is a villa that rents out commercially for as much as $9,000 per night. If any other Canadian had stayed there, that's what they would have to have paid, and they would have to pay for their own airfare, not having a private jet. This Prime Minister wants us to believe that these Trudeau Foundation donors offered him a $9,000 a night vacation for nothing. We know nothing is free, Mr. Speaker. This is about influence and power for the super rich. So why won't he answer? How much did he pay in accommodation per night at this luxurious villa?
Right Honourable Prime Minister.
I guess, Mr. Speaker, the Leader of the Opposition struggles with the concept of friendship, Mr. Speaker. My father was godfather to one of their kids. Their father was godfather to one of my brothers. This is 50 years of friendship, Mr. Speaker. But of course, we work with the Ethics Commissioners to make sure all the rules were followed. But if the Leader of the Opposition wants to talk about friendships, let's talk about the fact that he's running to his American billionaire tech giant friends to attack the local news that Canadians are relying on. Shame on him for going after Canadian content, Canadian news, Canadian things that people care about.
Honourable Leader of the Opposition.
The only thing Canadian about the Prime Minister's vacation is the tax dollars forced to pay for it, Mr. Speaker. But he refuses to answer the question. He knows that there's these powerful interests are buying influence while making the Prime Minister more out of touch with the people on whom he is imposing his inflationary taxes and deficits. This is consistent with having already been found guilty for taking a $250,000 vacation from a billionaire that was seeking a government grant from him. If he's got nothing to hide, will he tell us, did he take these $9,000 a night villas for free?
In Alberta, NDP leader Rachel Notley promised to answer questions from reporters so long as the reporters work for the CBC or ask her only easy questions. Notley made it clear that she won't be answering any questions from reporters that she doesn't like.
I want to make it very clear that I'm happy to take any questions from the media and any follow-up questions. Thank you.
Madam, good afternoon. I understand it's your birthday.
Indeed it is.
Happy birthday. All right. Thank you for your saying that you would take questions and follow-up questions. I'm going to take that as your affirmation of openness and transparency when you're dealing with the media. So I do have to ask, the Western Standard news site and our Edmonton reporter, being fully accredited members of the press gallery, why has your party cut us off from receiving the NDP press releases and media advisories?
Well, sir, I very much appreciate the question, and I do appreciate you being here, and thank you very much for the birthday greetings. However, as much as we have in the past taken questions from your bosses, your institution, unfortunately, your publication recently has been engaging in very active homophobic, discriminatory, hateful editorial positioning as it relates to some of our caucus members. And until such time as that is retracted and an apology offered, we will not be answering questions. Happy to reconsider that issue should a retraction and apology be offered. But between now and then, I simply cannot engage in any sort of normalization of that kind of conversation. It is a breach of our human rights code. It's a breach of our charter. It's a breach of basic standards. And so I look forward to hearing from your editors in the future.
Well, Madam,
happy to take other questions.
Let's dispute your interpretation of our editorial policy. We're not homophobic. We're libertarian. But with all due respect, it's really not for politicians to say that we will talk to this people and not to those people, because are we not all fighting the same election, and are we not all in good standing with both the national and the provincial party? Your Saskatchewan wing of the NDP fields all our questions and sends us their advisories. Why won't you do the same?
So I'm happy to take other questions from folks.
Notley even kicked a reporter out of her news conference before the reporter could ask a question.
Do you work for the party?
We're contractors.
You're contractors, security contractors, to stop media from asking the ex-premier questions?
I'm not stopping anybody from asking anything. I'm just.
Well, you are stopping me.
Well, push comes to shove. I mean, we can get into a debate here.
I don't want to get into a debate here. I don't want to get into a debate here. All I'm saying, to avoid any hassle, is that they're not going to entertain your questions. So they're not going to entertain my questions.
Right. So it's as plain as that.
That's the NDP position.
That's right.
You are very close to me right now. You're being confrontational.
We're having a gentleman's discussion.
Sure. Okay, well, I'm glad you agree, and I'm going to stand here, ask the question that I came here to ask.
We're having an adult conversation.
The question that Albertans want to hear an answer to.
All I'm doing is conveying the message.
Okay, understand, Ken? We'll go this way. Okay. I need to put your hands behind your back.
Former Prime Minister Stephen Harper took time to remind Alberta voters of the mess that Notley made during the NDP's disastrous one-term government.
Alberta's been through some tough years since 2015, but the economy is finally hitting its stride again and employment is booming. Yet that could all be derailed if the Notley NDP wins. We've seen what they've done before: job killing, tax hiking, anti-energy policies leading to mass layoffs, business closures, and recession. It took years to recover from the last NDP government. We can't risk going backwards again. Vote for Alberta. Vote Conservative.
In Ontario, Doug Ford's Conservative government introduced sweeping reforms to the education system to help Ontario students succeed in core skills like reading and math. NDP leader wants the government to spend more money on unionized staff.
Speaker, this government likes to say it's going back to basics, but like math. But that's a little ironic because their math here just does not add up. The reality is, when adjusted to inflation, education funding has plummeted $1,200 per student per year since this government first took office. So again, to the Premier, when will this government stop shortchanging students, restore funding, and get kids the support they need to succeed?
Ontario Education Minister Stephen Lecce promised to keep the focus on students.
Mr. Speaker, let's hear from the Canadian Foundation for Economic Education what they had to say opposed to the rhetoric from the members opposite. Quote, we commend the province of Ontario for launching this initiative that will help to ensure young students can build successful careers. Alicia Smith from Dyslexia Canada. Dyslexia Canada sees today's funding announcement as a positive and necessary step that will help Ontario school boards shift their practices. The head of the Community Literacy of Ontario said the changes the Ministry of Education is making to the current school system directly addresses literacy and aims to support children building their critical skills. The head of the Ontario Catholic Trustees Association said today's announcement of significant additional resources in support of improved student math and literacy skills are welcomed and very much appreciated. The head of the Ontario Federation of Home and Schools Association says these additional supports is the fundamental areas of math and literacy will get students back on track where they need to be. Mr. Speaker, we are investing more and we are expecting more from Ontario's publicly funded school system. I ask members opposite to support this bill, to expect better for Ontario children, lift standards, lift the ambitions and the outcomes for kids in Ontario.
Premier Ford announced plans to redevelop Ontario Place to Toronto's waterfront, with a new Ontario Science Centre as the project's crown jewel. The Premier talked all about the things that people will be able to enjoy once the project is complete.
Friends, once you get here, there's going to be so much to do, so much fun. You can start your day taking a stroll at Trillium Park or at one of our new trails with stunning views of Lake Ontario and the beautiful Toronto skyline. Then head over the new public marina and enjoy some shopping from local vendors and grab a meal or a cold drink at one of the many new restaurants and bars that our partners at Ontario Live will design and deliver. After that, you can walk or cycle over to the new state-of-the-art Science Centre. And by the way, we've been talking about this Science Centre for over 3 years now. Probably the worst kept secret. But John, thank you for that. Yeah, I agree. Where you can explore the latest in interactive exhibits or catch the movie at an upgraded Cinesphere. You can spend an afternoon at Therme Water Park or just relax on one of the new expanded public beaches. And to close it out for the day, enjoy one of the live concerts. I'm sure quite a few of you have already been to Budweiser stage. They're going to have 20,000 other people in the brand new all-season amphitheater, and thank you for that to our friends at Live Nation, world class. Friends, we're bringing more to Ontario Place, more green space, more trails, more beaches, and more fun. The new revitalized Ontario Place is a once-in-a-generation opportunity. It will attract between 4 to 6 million people. The minister's telling me 6, I believe it. Hopefully it'll even be more each and every year. Create approximately 5,000 jobs and be an economic driver for local hotels and restaurants and entertainment venues for decades to come.
In Ontario, pensioners celebrate the passage of the new private members bill by Marilyn Gladue, Conservative MP for Serena Lambton. The bill aims to move company pensioners to the front of the line in corporate bankruptcy cases. In the past, pensioners were left holding the bag when companies like Nordell Networks and Sears Canada went out of business, while banks and secured creditors took priority.
The great Marilyn Gladue, a chemical engineer, a hardworking member of parliament from Sarnia, a working class town, has put forward a bill to put pensioners first. Tell us about it.
Well, absolutely. I had a neighbor who worked for Sears and got 70 cents on the dollar after working her whole life. And I said, that's not right. And so brought forward a bill that people have been trying to bring forward for 20 years in Parliament. Finally, with the cooperation of all members of the House and Senate, it successfully passed. And this means that people that worked hard their whole lives will receive their pensions ahead of bankers and creditors. This is really important, especially now when we've got inflation at an all-time high and the cost of living going up continually. It's a great day for Canadian pensioners, and our leader has been supportive of this bill all the way along. I want to thank him for that.
And that's it for this week. Make sure to like and subscribe to our page and sign up for our free email updates and stay in the know with what's happening in Conservative Canada.